I'm Evelyn Hudi-Hart. I am part of the original group, but I flew in from Singapore for this, and I'm just thrilled to be here. Although I must say the weather has not been particularly kind to those of us from tropical Asia. It's really a great pleasure for me to introduce our noon speaker, Professor Hsinya Huang, 黄欣雅，应该这样说，对不对
？Chinese tone and language, right, get the right tone. Right.
I have just the greatest pleasure of having known Hsinya now, I would say for maybe 10 years, Hsinya, not to date you, but certainly to date me. One of my dearest and most respected colleague in Taiwan. Hsinya is Dean of Arts and Humanities at National Sun Yat-sen University in Kaohsiung, and if you have not visited her campus, you must put that on your itinerary next time you go to Taiwan, because you're in for a treat, not only to meet her wonderful colleagues and students, but to see the monkeys in her campus. I kid you not, there are monkeys on her campus. She is currently on sabbatical and soon to be Fulbright Scholar in Residence at Stanford University. She is multi-talented and has a range of interests. She completed her PhD in Comp Lit at the great University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And she has published widely on a range of innovative and cutting-edge literary topics and approaches, I should say, in eco-literature, transnationalism, indigenous Taiwan and US literature, and American literature in general. Hsinya has also been a stalwart and a real leader in American Studies. American Studies Association, by the way, we are now in American Studies in this building, one of the 3 buildings. Earlier on this morning, the John Nicholas Brown Center is also a part of American Studies, and this is also a part of American Studies. She has been a member of the National Board of the American Studies Association. She's the international representative on the board. So, without much ado, let me introduce Professor Huang Hsinya to speak to us today. And her title is on the screen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Well, I have jet lag, very serious jet lag. I haven't slept for 2 nights. So I hope you will bear with me. I'm going to talk really sensible. I try to hold on to myself without telling you too much about the monkeys in my university. Let's concentrate on this idea of imagining the Trans-indigenous Pacific. I would like to first of all take this opportunity to thank Professor Evelyn Hudi-Hart, Professor Bob Lee, and Professor Caroline Frank for putting together such a productive, wonderful program. Even though I haven't slept, for the 2 nights, I was always awake, in each of the presentation and talk. So I learned a lot. And I think it's really important for me, try to refresh your memory a little bit. Well, probably you are as concentrated as I am, but let me start my keynote by picking up where we left off last evening with Professor Xiong-Bing Zhen's talk. If Taiwan, then what, right? So why Taiwan? I mean, what's the significance? Think about Taiwan. It's such a small, tiny island. It's only 1/3 of the Lake of Michigan Lake. Okay, so if you drive from the northern tip to the southern tip of Taiwan, it takes only 8 hours. The speed limit, 90 kilometers. If you take high-speed rail from Taipei to Kaohsiung, 90 minutes. 1.5 hours. Think about that. The family, my family, travel around the island twice, 3 times a year. All right. So it's our common practice to go to the mountain, like above 2,000 meters, right, to meet our indigenous friends. And we do that as our very common practice because it takes only 1.5 hours to drive from the city of Taichung to the very mountain that is the highest peak of East Asia. We call J Mountain, Mountain J. So we hike on Mountain J, we hike on Hehuan Mountain. It's easy, you don't have to drive too much. So it's a tiny island. Okay, it's surrounded by water, right? So if you come my campus, if you ask me how big my campus is, I mean, Evelyn, you have been to my campus. It's located between the ocean, the sea, and the mountain, right? If you ask me how big my campus is, there's no way for me to tell you because it depends on the tides, the tidal, right? So that's the place we are talking about today. Okay, a small island located at the edge of the world. And I have already told you that, why we have to do this. And then why American Studies? American Studies is a huge discipline or interdisciplinary, right? How does Taiwan, or we talk about global indigeneity, inspire or promote or transform the critical paradigm of American studies? What's the usefulness for us to sit here to talk about repositioning Taiwan? So I'm going to pick up that one. One thing that I would like to remind you is the very beginning of Professor Xiong's talk, that is the film clip, the documentary clip by Qi Bolin. That is a famous, very famous Seeing Taiwan, 看见台湾. But the English title is Beyond Beauty. Small is beauty, okay? Smallness is beautiful, okay? No problem with that. But what is beyond beauty, okay? So remember the title. The English title is Beyond Beauty. So the first thing that comes to my mind, what is beyond beauty about Taiwan is the multitude of the island. There is not just one single island of Taiwan. You talk about Taiwan, it's not one island. There are Jinmen and Maju. Who is from Maju? Raise your hand. Right. Songqing is from Maju, right? And the Penghu archipelago. Yes. How many islands are there in Penghu archipelago? 8,000. 8,000 islands. So it's not just one single island, right? Okay, multitude. And finally, there is a board of indigenous Dao people, a separate island of what we call Oki Island, Lanyu, or Bangsono Dao. That's their Dao language, the Austronesian language. So the Oki Island, meaning the island of the people, or the true people. Bangsono Dao. Dao is the true people, the real people. What else is beyond beauty? Okay, I'm going to ask you to answer this question at the end of my talk, all right? So you have your answer, and keep this in mind. The second question that why I have here, why American Studies? The American Study program in Brown becomes the first institution, as I learned yesterday, which houses Taiwan study, but why American Studies, but not as traditionally in Asia studies. Professor Xiong tried to explain how to look at Taiwan from the lens of American studies. In what way is this profitable? In other words, why do we have to look at Taiwan from the lens of American studies? They are different, right? American study is a huge interdisciplinary study, whereas Taiwan study, think about Taiwan, definitely is different, very different from the continent of the Americas. Or should we push this a little bit to make it more radical? After all, Taiwan and American studies are very different in terms of methodology, in terms of sequential and spatial scale, in terms of interdisciplinary implication, and so on and so forth. But if we take Taiwan as a method, I think someone mentioned this yesterday, how does it transform the critical paradigm or the trajectories of American studies? That's the second question. Let's start with reflecting on the concept of island or islanding. Okay, So talking about island, I think Professor Tong is very familiar with Epili Aowa, We Are the Ocean, and she translates the book into Chinese. And that is very well read, in Taiwan. It is primarily for those anchored to allege the sublimity of the continent, that insularity, that's island, equals to smallness or imprisonment or confinement. But instead of small islands in the remote sea, Pacific writer Epili Aowa re-envisioned the Pacific or Oceania as a sea of islands, a huge sea of islands. Think about Panhu Archipelago, 8,000 islands, not just one single island. So it's a sea of islands that has given rise to traditional indigenous ways of life unique to the Pacific region, and expressed through outstanding cultural landscape and seascapes, and in the intangible heritage of tradition, knowledge, and stories. And monkey, of course, is one of the many stories on the island. In the spirit of Aowa's vision of island, not as isolated but as openness onto vast oceanic worlds, my talk foregrounds alternative models of reckoning space, time, and the place that both require an active and participatory engagement with the Pacific seascapes and involve the planetary consciousness. So it is not just about the island, but about the waters that surround the island and its maritime tradition and culture. And I think, Erin, you are absolutely right that you somehow, you did not raise the question, but I heard you, saying, how about island, how about maritime tradition and culture yesterday. So my methodology is comparative studies as my training, since the old days, 25 years back, how old I am. By the way, Huang Hsinya, for you to remember me, Huang is Emperor Yellow. That's the most ancient Chinese emperor. So I'm a princess from the royal house. And Hsinya meaning elegant heart. So a princess of elegant heart. My old friends call me Your Highness. Comparative studies, we are talking about this. So my study, this paper, actually the presentation here is only like 1/3, a part of a longer chapter, which is going to be included in a book, which is going to be published by Duke University Press next year, 2017, next year, 2017. It's a book called Archipelagic American Studies, okay, edited by Brian Roberts. So anyway, this is a comparative study. So I drew upon 2-3, writers and artists. I'm not going to say too much about those writers, but rather concentrate on the Taiwan side, Taiwan part. One of the writer I talk about is a Haida artist, Bill Reid. His piece, The Spirit of Haida Guai, and also New Zealand poet Robert Sullivan, Start Waka. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to concentrate on Bangsono Dawu writer Shaman Lambo An. The naming of the Bangsono Dawu, that is one of the now 16 recognized tribes in Taiwan. The naming is interesting. Our name comes from the father. So in the name of the father, we exist, right? But for the Dawu people, they name after their children. So Shaman Lamboan, meaning Lamboan's father. So Shaman is father. So when you go to the village, you don't say that I'm going to do for shaman. There are so many shamans in the village, right? Lamboan is the firstborn of shaman. So shaman used to be called Chikawa. But after the firstborn, Lamboan, he changed his name into Shaman Lamboan. So he named himself, all the Dawu people named himself after the firstborn child of the family. And then if Lamboan get married, Shaman would like him to get married so much so that he can change his name again and become Shabun. Shabun meaning grandfather. Okay, so if Lamboan's firstborn child is a woman called, for instance, beautiful flower, something like that. So he would become Shabun, beautiful flower, right? Right? That's good. Okay, he becomes Shabun, beautiful flower. Okay, so he sort of anticipates the day to come very soon. So a very different culture anyway. So I'm going to talk about Shaman Lamboan from Taiwan, that small island, Oki Island. And I demonstrate how indigenous cultural production from Pacific, both visually and verbally, decontinentalizes American studies through the powerful metaphor of the canoe. So I'm going to talk about navigating across the pathway of the sea before the Euro-American colonialism even take place or remap or navigate the Pacific Ocean. I don't want to burden you with jargon, from island studies, but just to name a few. I think you are familiar with repeating island, desert islands, and then, here we have Stephen Fisher put it like the fable Atlantis to modern Manhattan, from Taiwan to Tahiti. Islands have fascinated, empowered, inspired, and enriched, and delighted, and rescued. But how? Okay. Why we are doing here, island, Taiwan. I employ the Pacific as a contact zone to examine the shifting relationship between the sea and the land, and in so doing, to weave together the Pacific connections by stressing island temporalities. Think about how quick we go around, and think about when we get to the end of the land, which is very easy. You either swim or you have a boat, you navigate. Okay, so our university makes swimming and the surfing and the boating one of the required, for the general education. What I'm saying is that by stressing this island temporality and topographies, I would like to say that Taiwan study, or the study of Taiwan as an island, counteract the logics of U.S. continental exceptionalism. And as I'm going to show you, it also counteracts the colonial logics of modernity. Okay. The Pacific is the largest ocean divide on the earth. In recent years, issues around global capitalism, national identity, the sense of community, the ecology of the region has sparked intriguing and provocative discussions. Research along this line celebrates the networking and the coalitional activities of various people in the Pacific, and highlight the circulation of ideas and cultures, which I believe to be crucial to an archipelagic turn in American studies. Okay, so we also have Native American studies in mind, right? We think about Native American because I'm going to show you a Native American scholar later on, just very quick. Okay, what is this? Not yet, okay. Comparing indigenous writers from Pacific Islands, I argue Taiwan as a method offers an oceanic perspective to balance continental ways of thinking and the supplement or challenges transnational approaches to imperialism, indigeneity, and ecology. As I believe Iowa put it, the sea is our pathway to each other, to everyone else. So you go to your neighbor, or you go to, for instance, Boston by car, and we go to visit our neighbor by boats or swim. Okay. to each other, to everyone else. The sea is our endless saga. The sea is our most powerful metaphor. The sea is in us. That human body on an island merged, with the oceanic body, the sea body. The stories and images of the survival and revival of traditional seafaring practices provide an indigenously ordered and anti-colonial and anti-continental places. They map and remap the uncharted spaces of the Pacific Islands. The canoe navigates a course that is not overdetermined by the trajectories of imperialism and colonialism from land and the continent. They traverse a Pacific independent of colonial demarcation, and in this way sustain a paradigm of trans-indigeneity, of rooted routes, of a mobile, flexible, and voyaging subject who is not physically or culturally circumscribed by territorial boundaries. The next session that I have is Pacifics on the Move. I talk about this a little, in kind of, a long narrative, but I'm going to concentrate on Vince Diaz, who is originally from Guam and work as a professor in Native American Studies in UI, University of Illinois. So. Contemporary discourse on island has slanted toward Caribbean Atlantic, the primary site of Western or Euro-American expansion since the early colonial period. And here I would like to concentrate on the response from the Pacific, specifically from the Polynesian. He's from Guam, right? The tradition. He has an article called Moving Island of Sovereignty. In this, he examines a very long history of indigenous geo and oceanographic dispersal and indigenous time and space forged through maritime travel. He argued for a distinct tradition of the Pacific Islander sovereignty grounded on their experiences and techniques of navigation. The navigation technique of Pacific Islanders involving reckoning the distance traveled and one's location at sea by calculating the rate at which one's island of departure move away from the traveling canoe and the rate at which a second reference island moves along another prescribed star course. This is complicated. If you do not know how to navigate, you don't know what I'm talking about, right? But I'm going to show you later on an example. From the literary example, you will understand, right? Even though you don't know how to navigate, you have imagination. You don't have to do it by yourself to know about navigation. You know about navigation through what? Stories, right? Through literature, okay? So I'm going to show you that. It's important to read Shaman or to read Robert Sullivan, right? If you don't want to learn navigation because it's too risky, right? Where am I now? So it involved the cosmos, the stars, the seascape actively participate in the seafaring process, while the canoe become the center of the universe, investigating its environment in flux. By this very well-crafted canoes and with very sophisticated maritime technology and knowledge, the Pacific Islanders settled roughly 2/3 of the globe's southern oceanic hemisphere, a dispersal that began about 8,000 years ago. Okay, so when is that take place, right? The canoes and the related technologies of navigating the Pacific has been featured in the book, and I'm not going to talk about this. It's too complicated. It's an artistic exhibition, and it's a collection of that exhibition. It's a joint exhibition of the Pacific Northwest art and Maori art. And there is really much trafficking, between the artists and between the people of these two places, okay? From the ancient times, not just the contemporary, from the ancient times, right? So this book, Manawa, Pacific Heartbeat, connect Maori people with the Pacific Northwest Indians, as well as their artistic practice. I'm going to skip this part, and then the canoe, of course, is one of the objects that they feature. But the canoe has many names. Let me list the names, right? They have different names in different countries, but they refer to the same kind of means of transportation, the tools of movement, around the ocean, and it's part of their everyday vocabulary. Okay, so we go from Maoli, we have waka, and this you have to remember this word. Say it after me, waka. There you go. Okay, waka meaning canoe, right? In Maoli language. Okay, and we skip Fiji and everything, but you definitely have to learn a second one. That is, Dawu Pinban Zhou, the assemble boat. That is, did you see that? Mi tatala. Okay, mi tatala. Okay, that literally meaning assemble boat. And I'm going to tell you how to build the assemble boat. You don't have to build it yourself, right? Because shaman is going to tell you how to build it through his language, through his stories, all right? So it's important to study literature, to read stories, to exercise your imagination, right? Okay. The names of the canoe permeate the stories of the Pacific Islands as the vessel traverses the ocean. Nowadays, the vessel is created as a reflection on the cultural commonality of the Pacific, as a symbol of traditional values that exist among the islanders, sailing islands of the Pacific. The canoe symbolizes the indigenous islanders' connectivity, right? It's a canoe, going around, right? So the connectivity of the islanders, by canoe. It underscores a shared history of native science and navigation technology. It also highlights the values of hospitality, reciprocity, and the power of the personal, communal, the human, non-human, all confronted in the islanders' cosmology. And I'm going to show you this in the story as well. It's an important tie to the islanders' ancestry, and it is from the canoe that individual beings, islands, and threads that are woven into mutual interconnectivity. It serves as a container of cultural memories and native science of the Pacific. In the canoe, Pacific indigeneity embody the latitude of knowledge. Okay, so it's a different knowledge system that we are talking about. The Pacific canoe traverses imperial mappings and defines indigenous identities as a result of ancient and ongoing processes of making, trading, moving, and migrating across not the land, not the territorial boundaries, but across waters. It forms a network among multiple dimensions, interlocking history and modernity, the individual, the tribe, the universe, and the nature and human civilization. So I'm going to skip all this part, right? Haida-gua, okay? If you have never been there, try to get there. But it's not easy to get there. People from Vancouver probably know better, right? Okay. Start waka. You still remember what waka means, right? Okay, Robert Sullivan. Okay, that's the image point. Okay, there are 3 images point in Start Waka. I'm not going to talk about this. This is too complicated. It's going to take 1 hour. Okay, this is complicated too. Let's focus on this one. Okay, let me find the part. Okay, this point. You remember moving island? So I'm going to demonstrate to you what moving island means, right? The Pacific Islands on the move. Okay. This one demonstrates the Polynesian or oceanic concept and technique of moving island, a primary knowledge system of oceanic navigation, which involves islands and seascapes and set them all in motion. There are 14 words in the poem. You can count, okay, 14 words. composed into 10 lines. Okay, lines in oceanic perspective, from oceanic perspective, line is not always flat, right? The globe is round, right? So when you navigate, you know, right? It's not flat, right? So the lines. Altogether, there are 10 lines arranged into 3 circle islands and 4 horizontal lines. So there's 4 horizontal lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you have the circle lines, right? Okay, so the figurative mapping visually includes 3 islands, right? So you have 3 islands and 4 entities: no man, whale, rubber, and curved-shaped, loved, floating totala. No man indicates the anti-anthropocentric idea in indigenous cosmology, while the whale evoked the multi-species connectivity between human and whale as continuing, or rather, whale being part of the ancestral tradition or linkage of the Maori people. Sullivan is from New Zealand, right? The Maori people. As the famous movie, I think most of you have seen the movie, Whale Rider has shown, the Maori ancestor Pakeha travel and settle in New Zealand on the back of a whale, right? The totala is a tree native to New Zealand used in the making and carving of waka. And Robert, of course, Robert Sullivan is the poet who is positioned on the boat of waka, right? So he's on the boat, right? Watching the world from the sea level perspective. And then the 3 circle islands feature the most significant message directly related to the technique of Polynesian navigation, namely that of moving island. And this article, Moving Island of Sovereignty, Diaz explained the concept and techniques in great detail. If you would like to read, I think it's very worthwhile to read it. In Polynesian language, that is attack. So look at this one, and then this is attack. Oops, this is attack. So Diaz drew it for us, you know, even though it's from the oral tale, from the oral narratives, right? That is passed down from the forefathers, and he drew it, right? So look at that. You have how many islands? How many islands? You have island of departure, and then you have island of destination, and you have reference island, right? Okay, and this reference island is called moving island. Is the island moving? Oh, come on, yes. If you are in the boat, is island moving? Yes. Okay, got it. All right. And this is how they calculate, you know, how far they are from the destination. And then in order to let their children or wife know how close they are to their home after fishing, they sing a song. And in the song, they say, I watched the sky and I saw this stars. Or they watch the seascape and they see this moving island, the reference island. So for the Oki Island people, they have a reference island, it's small Oki Island. Okay, so we have Oki Island and we have small Oki Island. You want to go to Oki Island, right? Okay, from Oki Island, you are going to see small Oki Island because that's the reference island and that's the moving island. All right, so when you are in a boat, you are fixated. You are the center of the universe, so you don't move, right? Okay, you see the feeling? Are you in the boat now? Okay, good. So you exercise your imagination, right? That's easy. That's really simple about navigation, right? We are so much land-bound. We're so much land-bound. You know? Sometimes you have to put yourself onto a boat, but purchase insurance first. If you don't know how to swim. I know, all right? Where am I now? Okay, moving on. This is too complicated, you know, but as I told you, that, that this moving island idea has been turned into work canoe in Robert Sullivan's Star Walker, right? So that's the war canoe. This is the canoe, the drawing, right, of moving island navigation technology. And this one, this one is the war canoe that convey or contain the cultural memory of the Polynesian people, right? So to put it simple, the navigator get onto the walker, follow the stars in the direction where lies his destination island. So you watch the star here, right? Then you know where to go, right? You don't use compass. No, you don't have to, right? There are so many islands and stars, and that will map your cosmos, right? Your cosmos. Okay. Oh, by the way, if you follow compass, shipwreck, because you are going to bump into iceberg like Titanic, right? But if you watch the sky and watch the island and you know that particular area, then you don't bump into rock, right? I want to tell you a private story, but later on, if I have time, one of the most important national vessel of research of Taiwan was destroyed because Shaman was discharged from his job as a researcher on the boat. And that's a national shame, and we don't publicize it. So 科技部的那个5号的研究船消失了，不见了 because it bumped into one of the 8,000 islands of the Penghu archipelago, and it was destroyed. Shaman used to work there, so they forced him to not only be on boat, but also if he get off boat, he has to work in the office, and he got pissed off and he quit. And then the boat was ruined. So you know what happened, huh? Okay, so don't say this. I mean, otherwise you are going to lose the money from Ministry of Education. As the island of departure recede from the view, he also pay attention to a third island as it appear move along another prescribed star course. Waka is conceived as stationary beneath the star point, whose position is also regarded as fixed. So the star is fixed. The boat, the Waka, is fixed, but the islands are moving, right? The ocean flows past and actively participate in the navigation. The island astern recedes while the destination island comes nearer, and the reference island moves backward beneath the navigating stars until it comes abaft and then further behind. As a navigator, literally or figuratively, Robert, or the poet, as you can see from this, here, right? This. Revision the ancient technology into words, and in so doing perform his insular identity as archipelagic by plotting his navigating course in relation to the island stars and the sea creatures. He referred to the stars, the celestial sky, as the veritable map for the world below, hence the significance of vertical relationship between human and the sky in oceanic navigation. He touched upon flora and fauna, and also the land and the sea mark, which constitute a horizontal map of navigating route, interweaving the vertical and horizontal map. So map for us, I mean, the modern map is always flat, right? But layer map has a vertical and then the horizontal line. So it's multiple dimensional, okay? It's a different kind of map, right? So this is the indigenous way of conceptualizing space in order to fix one's place. And it was a critical technological development that permitted Polynesian to traverse over 3/4 of the globe long before Europeans ventured into the Pacific. I'm not going to elaborate on the New Zealand. This is New Zealand. You don't watch New Zealand in isolation, right? here, right? The current, the sea, the flow, and then a sea of islands, right? A sea of islands. I'm going to show you this. Okay, this is New Zealand, right? What is this? Island in isolation? It makes no sense. No, you don't know what that is. Okay, hey. So Taiwan is the beginning or the origin of a large group of people who we call Austronesian. Okay, so the northern tip of Austronesian culture, which it originated in Taiwan, and then goes to Easter Island, and then to New Zealand, and then to Madagascar. Okay, so this is how you look at Taiwan. Okay, it's trans of island, right? It's a sea of island. It's Austronesian. They speak the same language. So when shaman goes to Badan of the Philippines, immediately they know they are brothers because they know their language. There are certain common word, right? Okay, all right. So this is the big island, right? Usually you have Taiwan, right? Now you're going to look at Taiwan from a different lens, not from American studies, okay? No. From what?
The ocean.
From the ocean. Which part of the ocean? From Oki Island, right? You can see the perspective. This is Oki Island. You see perspective. Oki Island is 40 miles off the eastern coast of Taiwan. Okay, and Kaohsiung is right here. And you only get to this part. The old map has only this part, you know. The Dutch map has only this part. They don't know that beyond the mountain, beyond the beauty, there is a small island. Look at this one. And this small island is the containment of the cultural memory of Austronesian, which is originated in Taiwan and spread out all over Oceania for 8,000 years already. Okay, and Polynesian, of course, is part of this big Austronesian family. Okay, I'm going to tell you stories, so I'm going to throw the language apart. Let me look at, this is shaman, and that's his boat, and he built his boat, and he get the trees, he get the woods himself. So everything has been done by himself, and this is genuine. Never challenge him, otherwise he get angry. He get angry so easily. Okay. Now I'm taking you to Oki Island. The church, right? On the island. The housing down here underground. Why? Because there's always typhoon. So they have to live underground. Smart. Small children know how to swim. Swim far. As far as the reference island, at the small Oki Island. They know where it is. And that's their boat, Mitatala. You still remember that? Mitatala. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to build a boat. Okay, we should stop here. How can we stop this? I don't want to stop. Okay, we're going to continue. Okay, good. There's more to come, but we don't have time. Okay. Here. Oops. 那怎么样让它再继续下去？ Okay, that's the boat. Okay, and this is frying fish. Okay, and there's so many frying fish that they cannot consume it right away during the frying fish season. So they smoke dry it. Okay, and this I took this picture. This is the front yard of Shaman Namboan. And he caught so much fish, frying fish. I'm going to show you, and he also caught this big one. Okay, I'm going to show you what this big one is about. Can you show that one? You know Life of Pi, right? Andy.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So Andy used the theme or the metaphor from Oki Island without you, audience, knowing about it. Okay, show this part. It's not working? Okay.
Hi, I'm Ang Lee, and welcome to Yahoo Movies and a peek at Life of Pi. 4 years.
We were going to skip him.
Our lead character.
Okay, here. You remember this Richard Parker, right? Oh, that's the first frying fish. And look at what follows.
Here, it's yours.
That's a frying fish. That's frying fish. You don't fish them. They just jump into your boat. And that one is big, right? Okay, that one is big. Is that frying fish? Of course not. Then what kind of fish is that? What is that? Huh? No, not tuna. But why, among frying fish you have that big one?
Oh, like that big one?
Yeah, the big one. Yeah, but it's not tuna, it's called jellyfish, but, 再把它放掉吧，遗忘。So why among the frying fish there's big fish? It's called jellyfish, 浪人参呢，它是鱼字边在一个参加的参，浪人参。Why the big fish? Oh, you have never been on the sea. What a pity. Oh, you don't know about this. Oh my goodness. Why? That's right. Yeah. Okay. This is the calendar of the Oki Island or the Dawu people. It's always evolved around frying fish. So the year is divided into 3 seasons. So we have frying fish season, we have post-frying fish season, and we have the season awaiting frying fish. Okay? So during the frying fish season, the black current from the equator, okay, going up, and then frying fish follow this warm current. Why? Because they are small kind of fish, shrimp, following this warm black current. And then the frying fish swim so hard, push so hard, to go ahead. Why? Because there is predatory fish, right? So that big one is predatory. And he got it once, and he was so proud of himself that he took this photo. Okay, but anyway, we are going to skip a little bit, those are the books he wrote, so many of them, so many. I'm trying to talk to Wang Dewei to translate some of the into English. It's so worthwhile. if you would like to know Taiwan, then you should know about this. He gave me this copy and autograph. It says, Ding Huang, my good friend, elegant heart, the wisdom of women, that's you, is the blue of the water world. What is it about? Oh, come on. Right? Is it a metaphor? Yeah. The metaphor. It's the blue. It's the water. Right? So you really have to get onto the ocean to know what he is saying. What about my wisdom? What does that mean? All right? And then this is another one, and you say passion for the ocean. Right? 海情, passion for the ocean. Okay, we don't have too much time. That's him. Okay, we don't have too much time, but this is the season, right? His father carved the first boat for him when he grows up, and he has to do it himself. Okay, the boat was composed of 21 planks from different trees in order to preserve the eco-diversity. They have to take the planks from different trees. And then there are 3 layers of the boat. Each layer, they use 6 planks. Okay, so altogether, 3 layers, that would be 18. And then you have the keel, you have the stem, you have the stern, then altogether 21 planks. And he has to do the trees first. And before he felled the trees, he had to talk to the spirit of the trees as my brothers, saying, brothers, I'm coming for you. I'm going to make you into a boat. And the boat has life. And you are going to help me to continue the life of our tribe. Okay? And it's really touching if you read his work. Okay, and his work is from labor, from the body. Okay. Fish is divided into 3 different kinds. You have men's fish, you have women's fish, and you see women's fish is more beautiful and big and fat, right? And this is men's fish, right? And we have old people's fish, right? Old people fish is like a small, you don't want to see it, right? So in other words, this is a tribe or a tradition which preserve the younger generation. The women who give birth to younger generation, right? And named after the younger generation, their children, right? Okay, this is Anne Lee's inspiration. Anne Lee took the inspiration from here. Hundreds and thousands flying fish live out of the sea, flying and dashing forward. Most sea jump into my boat, whoa, and so on and so forth, right? This is what happened in Life of Pi, right? And you watch Life of Pi without knowing flying fish. Okay. Now I'm going to conclude. I don't think I have to conclude. The question is still why Taiwan? Studying Taiwan or Taiwan study probably would do something, for us to rethink about the paradigm, the critical paradigm of American studies. And I hope that this 2 fields will grow, together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.